there are homes all across the United States begging and pleading and waiting for a child. Even none of us can ever forget the words of Mother Teresa, who said, if you don't want the children, I want the children. Give them to me. I will take them. This diminutive little nun from Calcutta who was willing to take any child from across the planet. Here in the United States, we have willing, open hearts that would take every child that is born in this country.
And reclaim my time raising up on the point made by the gentlelady from Minnesota. It's true that every child is both wanted, is wanted, but also every child is planned and wanted by God. It's His will, and we need to acknowledge that will and nurture and love these children with all of our ability and all of our will. And it takes me to another quote by Dawn Johnsen. This one fits right in with the category, perhaps more egregious. It is. This is the infamous KKK quote, where she says that the terrorist behavior of petitioners, meaning those people that are praying for life outside the abortion clinic, is remarkable, similar to the conspiracy of violence and intimidation carried out by the Ku Klux Klan, against which Congress intended this statute to protect. Madam Speaker, I'm watching my constituents by the hundreds on this 40 days of Lent praying outside Planned Parenthood in Sioux City, Iowa, throughout these 40 days, and they have been labeled now to be similar to the KKK by the prospective head of the Office of Legal Counsel, who would be whispering these terms into the President's ear and writing legal opinions and bringing influence on the enforcement effort of the federal government, bringing that up against people who are exercising their First Amendment rights, freedom of assembly and religion.
This statement is a remarkable statement because it seems to invoke the worst hate speech that you could possibly make. To call out those who are praying on behalf of life and to liken them to terrorists and to call them terrorists, that seems to me invoke a hate speech and also a form of bigotry, religious bigotry of the worst order. And to think that this really calls into question, for me, the President's judgment in choosing someone like Dawn Johnsen, who'd use this type of language and put her in the position of being Office of Legal Counsel. I think it's shocking and a stunning choice, and really calls into question President Obama's judgment in this selection.
And reclaiming my time, the gentlelady has articulated this, I think, very well. And as we add these expressions up together, pregnant mothers are the equivalent of being hit by drunk drivers, and that abortion will never be rare. The equivalent of the KKK, or people that are demonstrating and protesting that we should protect and support innocent human life. The previous one that I'll pull another one up here and add another quote to that. This is another quote from Dawn Johnsen, where she says, the experience of an abortion is no longer traumatic. It's the response of most women to the experience is relief. I don't have any experience with that, but that's not the message that I get from the people that I talk to who come to this city. The strongest leaders in the pro-life movement are always, among them, will be women who have had abortions and suffered the trauma, the psychological trauma of abortion. They don't feel relief. They feel compelled to pray and march and demonstrate until Roe versus Wade is overturned and we can protect innocent human life in this country as God intended.
And I would add that with all due respect, this is one of the most ignorant comments I have ever heard, that the experience is no longer traumatic. Speak to anyone who deals in the aftermath of dealing with women who've had abortion. My best friend runs a crisis pregnancy center. She's given her life and poured her life out because she loves women and she loves abortion-minded women. She wants to meet them at the point of their deepest crisis. And she has told me that women who come in who are considering abortion, and also women who've had an abortion, who come to her, it is completely traumatic They agonize as they walk into the clinic. They agonize the women who've had previous abortions after they've had the abortion. It is traumatic. There are reams of scientific papers that have been done that speak loudly to the trauma that the woman has experienced, let alone the trauma that the baby experienced. That baby, the baby's life was taken in cold blood. That baby was murdered in cold blood. Not traumatic? It was traumatic for that innocent child, but it was traumatic, equally as traumatic for the mother. The mother realizes and understands what's occurred. This is traumatic, and to make that statement to me is heartless at worst and ignorant at best.
And reclaim my time with the trauma that has been visited upon many, many thousands of women in this country has brought about beginning of an entire organization, a movement that has significant inertia and membership. And that's called Women Deserve Better. And they make the case, they come to the city continually, and they make the case that women deserve better. They deserve proper psychological and medical counsel. They deserve to be treated with respect. They deserve to understand what's going on, and they do not deserve to be told that they're going to feel relief or that it used to be but is no longer a traumatic experience. It's traumatic for those.
That is the cruelest thing that could be done to a woman who is in crisis, to tell her that this is an easy, quick fix and that you will experience relief. Women are strong, capable, intelligent people. They can handle the truth, and they deserve to be given full scientific evidence of the procedure they're about to undergo, if that's the case. We need to respect women, and these statements don't reflect a true respect for women.
But they may reflect the majority of the input that's going into the ears of the president as these decisions are being made. And they would reflect the position of the Office of Legal Counsel if Dawn Johnsen is confirmed by the United States Senate. And we can expect that these ideas, this philosophy, this pejorative approach that's not balanced and it doesn't bring a sense of legality or legal scholarship or constitutional analysis, but it brings a bias into this discussion. These kind of biased positions would be reflected throughout the president's positions, because he's the one that's chosen her to reflect, and it does reflect his positions to some degree. And in fact,
and I would say that this reflects his position completely, because we know from the president's previous votes when he was a state senator in Illinois, he was the most pro-abortion state senator in Illinois. His voting record here in the United States Senate was that of the most pro-abortion United States senator. He fully supported partial birth abortion, one of the most gruesome, cruel procedures of infanticide one could ever imagine. Also, he voted for the Born Alive Act, which meant that he stood on the floor, as a matter of fact, in the Illinois State Senate and argued that children that were born alive didn't necessarily have a right to live, that those children who were born alive after a, quote, botched abortion, the baby survived the abortion, that the doctor would have the right to kill that baby after it's born. And now President Obama voted in favor of that unthinkably gruesome bill.
And argued in favor of it. And the foundational principle that he argued for, Madam Speaker, was a woman who sought to have an abortion had a right to a dead baby, even if they botched the abortion and the baby survived. That is not a moral principle. It's not a legal principle. It's a myopic principle that's pulled up within the political lobbying that comes out of Planned Parenthood. It cannot be based in anything morality. It can't be based in law. But the philosophy of the president was also reflected when he said, on the campaign trail, speaking as if his daughters got pregnant, out of wedlock, I presume is what he was referring to, he said, "I don't want my daughters punished with a baby." And I listened to that tape tonight to be sure I heard it right. That is the words of the President of the United States. He actually said, "I don't want them," referring to his daughters, "I don't want them punished with a baby." I don't believe a baby is punishment. I believe a baby is a gift. And the people that I know that love their children as we do ours, and our grandchildren as we do ours, see them all as a gift. All is a gift from God. And when we're not done yet, I have...
One of the most gruesome quotes, and I don't know if the gentleman has this one, she's referring to her beliefs and people that are like-minded. She said progressives, which would be far-left liberals, must not portray all abortions as tragedies. Absent unforeseen technological and medical changes, abortion is unlikely to become truly rare and certainly not non-existent. And in this statement, she is lamenting the fact that abortion could become rare. She wants abortion to occur. When do you ever hear anyone say that they don't want abortion to be rare? But that's what Dawn Johnsen is saying. When President Bill Clinton was running for president, he said he wanted abortions safe, legal, and rare. Hillary Clinton said the same thing when she was running for president. Barack Obama, I'm not sure what his words were, but those were the words of people running for president. Dawn Johnsen is refuting that. She doesn't want abortion to be rare. She wants to see abortions occur. That's in the realm of the macabre. I am amazed at that statement.
I thank the gentlelady. And I have one more shocking statement made by Dawn Johnsen. Now, remember, this is the person who would be doing the constitutional analysis, making that decision and making that the same thing as a legal opinion, a binding legal opinion to the entire executive branch to one degree or another. I'll have the year of the president, who I think Dawn Johnsen has a major flaw in her jurisprudence, even though she's probably very well trained. This is what she says about the difference between the Bush administration and the Clinton administration on balance. She calls the Bush administration claims to executive power extreme, extraordinary, implausible, illegitimate, appalling, and abuses. And by comparison, the Clinton administration, I do not have any specific criticisms of the Clinton administration in these regards. Well, I think that tells us about the lack of partisanship that is there. And I have also, let's see, I was looking for a quote. I have it in front of me. I'm going to take it back to this slavery issue, where Dawn Johnsen said that statutes that curtail a woman's abortion choice are disturbingly suggestive of involuntary servitude prohibited by the 13th Amendment, in that forced pregnancy requires a woman to provide continuous physical service to the fetus in order to further the state's asserted interest. Back again, slavery? I could read through that Constitution dozens of times over. I could pour through this case law over and over again. I invite the law school creative people. I don't know who would come up with the idea that the opportunity to be a mother was equivalent to slavery. In a couple of minutes,
I would say that this heavy tax burden that the Obama administration is laying upon the American people has more to do with involuntary servitude than the fact of a woman who has the opportunity to carry an unborn child to term and to give life to that baby. Most women consider that a privilege and a blessing, and they pray for that opportunity so that they can have the chance to share in the joy of motherhood together with their husband, to be able to bring life and cooperate with God and bring life into the world. Life is a beautiful thing. It's precious. It's something not to be wasted. It certainly cannot be equated with involuntary servitude, which is slavery. Slavery is what we're looking at right now with the debt burden that we're seeing from the Obama administration, where we're looking at having more debt under President Obama than with all previous 43 presidents combined. That's involuntary servitude, when a person has to work 3/4 of a year just to pay their tax bill, and that's what we're looking at down the road for our kids and grandkids, because this Obama administration is clearly spending too much, taxing too much, and borrowing too much.
I thank the gentlelady, and I would just remind the gentlelady, the speaker, that we have by letter called upon the president to withdraw the name of Dawn Johnsen to head up his Office of Legal Counsel for these reasons that we've argued here tonight, for a multitude of reasons that we didn't get to in the time that we had, for moral reasons, constitutional reasons, statutory reasons, reasons of logic, common sense, and understanding the nature of humanity, for reasons that we want to see this nation continue to ascend in all of the levels of morality and economics and national defense and culture and vision, so that this country can be moved to the next level of its destiny that's positive, one that we can be proud of, one that will carry us forward and make our children proud. One day that our children can come to the floor of the House of Representatives, somebody's children, the next generation, and say, we stand on the shoulders of our forefathers.